Have you ever envisaged what true happiness is? Is the word in itself, when you hear it, say it, or see it, a word that brings up a feeling or emotion that is fleeting, or an emotion that is sometimes felt only when or if you are lucky, or that only some people feel all the time but not you? You see, we have all been conditioned to think that happiness is seen in movies, or that it is an emotion that in life we sometimes feel, but most times life is hard, and to be content or okay is good enough. Perhaps there are listeners who do see happiness as a way of life, preferring to experience it daily as much as they can, actually making a conscious decision to be happy or become happier. Perhaps you actually count yourself lucky and feel happy most times in your daily life, and that's super awesome. I couldn't honestly be happier for you, and I only have one favor to ask of you. Can you please spread this message to all your friends and family, that happiness can and does exist, and that only you can decide to create happiness for yourself? You see, what happened was I spoke to a friend, a good friend, whom I've known for years, and I've known her situation for years as well. And in our conversation, we touched on the life of another friend, whom I had a fallout with, but who I still care a lot for, to see if she was doing any better. My friend told me in a nutshell that both of them were handling life as well as they could, with the hands of fate that they've been dealt with, and that they were hoping for a miracle that could perhaps in the future change their lives so that things could be better for them. For now, even a little bit of change was great, and unlike me, she said, they are content to just wait and be as they are and just hope for a miracle. As she told me, you never know what can happen. She said she felt better now as she had changed her perception of her current reality, and now feels that because she made a decision to change her perception, it becomes her decision as to what she has to do on a daily basis, and no longer feels that she is forced to do it by her husband, and therefore feels a lot better for it. Don't get me wrong, that's wonderful to hear that she is in a better place than before, when she felt resentful and miserable. Now remember, all that's changed is her perception, which I talk about a lot too. But in her situation, and for the other friend as well, they have both decided to accept their so-called fate in life, to deal with the cards that life has handed them with. What has changed with my friend was her narrative, her inner dialogue that now sounds more appealing to her and is more palatable. And often when one is afraid of taking the bigger steps towards actual groundbreaking change, they do what they can to make little changes, and that helps them to keep going. I told her that nothing will change unless there is a catalyst for change, and to expect change in the near future when everything remains the same is not possible. Yes, something may happen to cause change to happen which is out of your control. But if you are in control, change comes when one wants to change and analyzes how to bring that change about. In their cases, we're talking about the attitudes of their husbands and how their husbands actually control their lives and their happiness. So their happiness lies mainly in the hands of their partners, who are both narcissists. And yes, they are both aware of this as well. So she tells me it's not too bad now, and it's not bad enough to leave and make real change. And perhaps one day when they can't stand it anymore, one of them will make a change. I told them that unless their husbands do anything different, like cheating or becoming physically more abusive instead of just mentally and sometimes physically abusive, that they have taught themselves to endure and to tolerate. And that their tolerance level is so high now that they will continue to tolerate just like their mothers have till today, and will do to the end of their time. By the way, their mothers have taught them how to live as their mentors, and with them, it's a learned behavior. But that's another topic for another day. Again, I remind myself that I need to respect their decision, and for my friend, just to be there for her when she needs a shoulder to lean on, and someone to cry and to listen to her when those times hit hard. However, that's when it struck me that the word happiness is not thought about and taken seriously by most people. I feel that it may be a word not analyzed much because to attain it, the things that come to most people's minds are that too many things have to change, and change in itself is difficult. So they decide within themselves that they prefer to try to live within the realms and boundaries of what their lives entail at the present moment. And when happy times happen, to feel it, enjoy it, knowing it won't last. Now, how does that all sound to you? Does any of this resonate with you? And have you ever thought about your own happiness this way? Once upon a time, I thought the same way as my friends did. And if I'm honest, by what I've heard and seen, I was amongst a lot of people who saw life the same way. The thing is, if and when people get too miserable or depressed, then that's when a catalyst comes to change. Generally, people have to come to a point where life is so bad that they are triggered to change their thoughts and perhaps gather the courage to confront their fears and to actually try to attain true happiness for themselves. At that point, perhaps they are still unaware of what would make them happy, but they have become aware of what's terribly wrong in their lives, that they need to change, whether it's that one thing or those aspects in several areas to become happier. But at the beginning stage, there are still no strong long-term goals as yet, but they are happy to start by taking baby steps. Get rid of the problem or problems and to see where life takes them. Now, when I talk about happiness, I'm talking about the happiness within us, the one we truly feel in our soul. I'm talking about feeling so good in any moment that it takes you by surprise. And when your smile comes from deep within and you feel this elation overcoming you, but there is nothing that caused you to be so happy. You didn't receive any money, you didn't hear any good news, but just happiness that emanates inside you when you speak to someone, even a stranger like a waitress or someone whom you happen to have a conversation with whilst you are waiting for something, or when you are just listening to a song. I'm talking about inner happiness, not something you attain from the outside that makes you happy, like being in an event and attaining attention from others, or getting adoring adulation from strangers, etc. I'm not knocking those things back either, but just diverting your thoughts to inner happiness. And along with that comes satisfaction about where you are with life in general, in relation to everything, your family, friends, work, finances, etc. Obviously, things could get better, but I'm talking about for just one moment having the gratitude about the here and now and thinking about life in general makes you actually feel happy. Most people think that when I get this or that, I'll be happy. But what they don't think about is true inner happiness that you can feel right here and right now. Please don't get confused with happiness and contentment. I'm not talking about contentment, which is in itself is also good if you can't reach the stage of true happiness. But to start thinking about contentment as the first stage towards happiness. Some people at this point may say to me, I'm being greedy, that contentment is what we should attain. But whilst being content with life is great, why is it so bad to be happy? Why does one need to be greedy to attain happiness? I think this equates with the saying, if you think that money is bad, you've probably never had money anyway, or something along those lines. Happiness is great. It's not a bad thing. It's attainable. You just need to want it enough in your life, and it needs to be part of your normality. It will bring you rays of sunshine within you, and you will be happy, whatever the weather condition is, whether you are with people or alone. So personally, I've turned inwards to find my own true happiness and have asked myself what makes me truly happy and what is important that I want to keep growing in my life, like the relationships that I already have, with whom I would want to have an even deeper relationship with, and why, and how would I attain that? Or is there something I would want to work on further to gain more happiness from within? I question what and who is truly important to me and what I want to invest my time in. I question financially, where do I want to head to? What personal dreams, missions, or goals do I want to attain? And where do I want to travel to and why? How can I better my relationships with my family? And why do I need to do this? Who do I need to impress? My answer to this question is me. I do admit I am the hardest and toughest critic that I have in my life now that my father is gone. And I need to have my inner needs met before I can meet the needs of anyone else in my outer world. For example, if you are unhappy inside, you will never be able to throw out and share real happiness with the people around you because you won't have the energy and certainly won't feel like doing it genuinely as you are unhappy within yourself. We haven't been taught that inner happiness is essential for us to thrive as human beings and to live to our fullest potential. We don't normally hear parents talk to children that it's important to think about what makes them happy and why, and to get them to think about their life goals in relation to their happiness, and that both their personal goals and happiness go hand in hand with each other. As for finding your true soulmate or partner, their goals and happiness need to be aligned with yours as well. Your career needs to be in line with what makes you happy, as normally what makes you happy is what you're naturally good at, and what you are naturally good at will generate the income that you desire. It all goes hand in hand, and children should be taught about inner happiness, what it means, and why they need to understand that it's important to question what makes them happy. Also, that happiness is different for everyone. A monk is happy in that they have chosen their calling, along with nuns and priests, as with nurses or social workers, or even bankers, as long as their career path is their true calling. A housewife can be truly happy inside because her calling is to be a mother and a wife, and her goals are towards her family, and that's great. A poor farmer can also be happy in a village somewhere because although he or she doesn't have the financial wealth, they have wealth of a different kind. A lifestyle that suits them and enough to eat. And to him or her, what we might see financially as not having a lot is actually not what they want. But to know that they have a village of people who will always lend a hand or be there for them is more than enough. And they can't imagine anything more. So what I'm saying is perhaps if you have never thought about happiness in itself and what it means to you, to start thinking about it now. Don't allow the word happiness to be a word that's elusive. It's not. It's actually meant to be part of your life. But it's just that we've never been taught to truly incorporate that word into our lives since childhood. And that happiness is only meant for those who are lucky. Some of us may even be afraid to think about this word happiness because in your minds you feel that you can't attain it. Let the fear go. It's only a perception. And learn to embrace what it means for you. And take either baby steps or giant leaps of faith and make the associated changes to find it whatever form happiness is for you. You are never too old, too young, too poor, too anything. You just need to change your perceptions and perhaps incorporate this when you have the next conversation with a friend to ask what their perception about what happiness is to them. I'm just here to provoke your thoughts and to get you to where you want to get to, as it is really possible if you try and commit. If I unintentionally have offended anyone, I do apologize. But I don't apologize for speaking my truth, and I will speak and share it with those of you who resonate with it. I've discovered a huge part of my personal happiness is sharing thoughts with you and helping someone out there who needs to hear what I have to say, which was why I created this channel and platform to share with you lived experiences and provoking thoughts. Thank you for listening, and hopefully this talk has inspired you to rethink and to go to find your inner happiness. As usual, if this talk resonates and changes one or a few lives, I would have attained my purpose and life mission.